The story of the praetorship begins in the 5th century BC, during a time of rising tensions between Rome's patrician elite and the plebeian majority. When the plebeians won access to the consulship in 367 BC, the patricians sought to retain some control over governance. In response, the Senate created the praetorship, a new magistracy tasked with administering justice and assisting the consuls. Livy, one of Rome's greatest historians, describes this development. Since the plebeians had gained access to the consulship, it was decreed that a praetor be created to administer justice, that the auspices might remain in patrician hands. Ab Urbe Condita, Book 6.42. Initially, there was only one praetor, and the position was reserved for patricians. The title praetor, derived from the Latin word praer, to lead, highlighted their role as both a legal authority and a leader in the administration of Rome. Over time, as the city grew, so did the responsibilities of the office, leading to the creation of additional praetors. During the earliest days of the Roman Republic, the office of praetor was initially the highest magistracy, predating the establishment of the dual consulship system as we know it. After the monarchy was abolished in 509 BC, the newly formed republic replaced the king with a single official called the praetor. This magistrate inherited the king's imperium, or supreme authority, overseeing civil administration, commanding the military, and leading religious rituals. The title praetor, meaning leader, or one who goes before, reflected the broad scope of responsibilities entrusted to this individual. For a brief period, the praetor held a position of unrivaled authority, acting as the central figure in Rome's political and military life. However, concerns over concentrating too much power in the hands of one person, an echo of the abuses of the monarchy, led to the introduction of a second praetor. This change formalized the dual magistracy structure and established the principle of shared power, which became a cornerstone of republican governance. Over time, the title praetor was replaced by consul for these dual officials. While the exact timing and reasons for the shift are debated, many historians suggest it occurred early in the Republic, as the need for distinct administrative and military roles became apparent. The term consul, derived from consuliere, to deliberate or to consult, better emphasized the collaborative and consultative nature of the dual office. The title praetor was retained but became a secondary magistracy when it was reintroduced in 367 BC to manage the republic's growing administrative and judicial needs. The praetorship's origins as the republic's highest office underscore its deep historical roots and its connection to the foundational principles of Roman governance. Although it later became subordinate to the consulship, the office's prestige and authority remained significant, reflecting its ancient lineage and the republic's evolving political structure. The praetor's primary responsibility was to oversee Rome's judicial system. They presided over court cases, interpreted laws, and resolved disputes. By 242 BC, their duties became specialized, with the office splitting into two key roles: the praetor urbanus and the praetor peregrinus. The praetor urbanus handled disputes between Roman citizens and ensured the city's legal system functioned smoothly. Meanwhile, the praetor peregrinus dealt with cases involving foreigners peregrini, reflecting Rome's growing interactions with other cultures through trade and diplomacy. Polybius, the Greek historian who admired Rome's governance, remarked, "The praetor stands as the interpreter of the law and guardian of order, overseeing the courts and ensuring the rights of all are upheld." Histories, Book 6.13. Praetors also wielded imperium, giving them military authority similar to consuls. In times of war, praetors could command legions, and in peacetime, they often governed provinces. While their military roles were generally subordinate to the consuls, their provincial responsibilities were essential to maintaining order in Rome's growing territories. By the late Republic, praetors organized festivals connected to their judicial or provincial responsibilities, such as the Ludi Apollinares, Games of Apollo. These spectacles weren't just entertainment. They were vital to Roman civic and religious life. One of the praetorship's most significant contributions was its role in shaping Roman law. Each year, praetors issued edicts, edicta praetoris, which outlined how they intended to interpret the law during their term. These edicts allowed praetors to adapt legal procedures to new circumstances, making the system more flexible and responsive. Over time, these edicts became a foundation for Roman legal thought, influencing future codifications of law. Cicero, one of Rome's most famous orators and a defender of the Republic, praised this flexibility, saying, "The wisdom of the praetors, expressed in their edicts, refines and perfects our laws, making them ever more just." Pro Cluentio 51. The praetorial edicts ensured that Roman law was not static, but a living system that could evolve alongside the Republic itself. This adaptability would later influence the Corpus Juris Civilis, the foundation of many modern legal systems. The praetorship wasn't just a powerful position. It was a crucial step on the path to greater political power. To become a praetor, a candidate had to complete earlier steps in the cursus honorum, Rome's traditional sequence of magistracies, usually beginning as a quaestor. By the late Republic, the minimum age for election was 39, making it the next logical step for those seeking the consulship. Originally, the office was restricted to patricians, but the conflict of the orders gradually opened it to plebeians. This democratization not only expanded access to the office, but also made the praetorship a proving ground for ambitious politicians. Cicero, reflecting on its importance, remarked, "The praetorship is not the culmination of honor, but a path to the highest offices, where justice and duty prepare a man for greater challenges." Pro Murena 23. As Rome expanded its empire, so too did the responsibilities of its praetors. By the 2nd century BC, additional praetors were appointed to govern new provinces such as Sicily, Hispania, and Africa. These provincial praetors oversaw taxation, public order, and defense, acting as both administrators and military commanders. Their work was vital to the Republic's ability to govern its vast territories. By the time of Sulla's constitutional reforms in the early 1st century BC, the number of praetors had increased to 8, reflecting the growing demands of Rome's empire. Julius Caesar later expanded this further, appointing even more praetors to handle Rome's administrative and judicial needs. While many praetors were effective administrators, some used their positions for personal gain. One infamous case is Gaius Verus, a praetor who governed Sicily in the late 2nd century BC. His corruption and exploitation of the province became the subject of a famous prosecution by Cicero, whose speeches exposed Verus's abuses and highlighted the dangers of unchecked provincial power. Cicero describes Verus's theft of resources and abuse of the Sicilian population, accusing him of extortion and plundering public wealth. It is not a question of whether Verus is guilty, but of whether anything so shameful, so criminal, so sacrilegious has ever been done by anyone else. In Verum, Actio Prima, Cicero paints Verus as the epitome of greed and arrogance, focusing on his willingness to sell legal decisions and enrich himself at the expense of justice. For 3 years, Verus plundered not only private citizens but entire cities, treating the wealth of Sicily as his own personal treasury. In Verum, Actio Secunda, not a single case came before him that was not decided by money. No law, no decree, no sense of justice could restrain him, only the size of the bribe. In Verum, Actio Secunda, Verus, recognizing the strength of Cicero's evidence and the orator's skill, fled into exile in Massilia, modern-day Marseille, before the trial could be completed. Cicero's speeches were later published and became a cornerstone of his reputation as Rome's greatest orator. They also serve as a valuable historical source on corruption in the late Republic and the functioning of provincial governance. The Praetorian Guard as an elite imperial unit did not formally exist during the Roman Republic, but the term praetorium and the concept of a leader's personal bodyguard have roots in Republican practices. The evolution of these traditions eventually culminated in the creation of the Praetorian Guard under Augustus in 27 BC. The term praetorium originated in the Roman Republic as the name for a general's tent or headquarters within a military camp. This connection to the praetorship stemmed from the fact that praetors, alongside consuls, often served as military commanders. The praetorium was not just a physical location, but also a symbol of authority and command, where strategic decisions were made, orders issued, and protection ensured. To safeguard these headquarters, senior commanders in the Republic relied on specialized troops referred to as the cohors praetoria, Praetorian cohort, which functioned as a temporary personal guard. These cohortes praetoriae were not permanent units like the later Praetorian Guard of the Empire, but were instead assembled on an ad hoc basis. Generals, whether consuls, praetors, or proconsuls, selected loyal and experienced soldiers to serve in this role during campaigns. These men were tasked with protecting the commander, maintaining order within the camp, and sometimes acting as a mobile reserve during battles. After a campaign concluded, the cohors praetoria was typically disbanded, as its existence was tied to the needs of a specific leader in conflict. Prominent generals of the Republic, such as Scipio Africanus during the Second Punic War, made use of these guards to secure their headquarters and ensure their safety on campaign. The praetorium would be fortified and heavily guarded, reflecting its importance as the nerve center of the army. Similarly, Gaius Marius, during his wars against the Cimbri and Teutones in the late 2nd century BC, relied on a bodyguard force to protect his person and headquarters, given the critical role he played as the architect of Rome's defenses. As the Republic transitioned into the tumultuous final decades before the Empire, the role of personal guards became increasingly politicized. Figures like Julius Caesar and Pompey the Great surrounded themselves with loyal soldiers, effectively creating personal armies that functioned as both bodyguards and political tools. While not formally referred to as cohortes praetoriae, these forces reflected the broader use of personal protection units rooted in Republican military tradition. The development of the Imperial Praetorian Guard under Augustus drew directly from these Republican practices. Augustus institutionalized what had previously been an ad hoc arrangement, creating a permanent elite bodyguard force stationed in Rome. While the Praetorian Guard is often seen as a product of the empire, its foundations were firmly laid in the military traditions of the Roman Republic. The praetorship played a vital role in the Roman Republic, balancing judicial, military, and administrative responsibilities. By issuing annual edicts and adapting the law to new challenges, praetors helped shape Roman jurisprudence, leaving a legal legacy that endured long after the Republic fell. Their ability to manage provinces and govern effectively made them indispensable to Rome's expansion and stability. While the consulship often overshadowed the praetorship in prestige, the office provided a critical stepping stone for ambitious politicians and a flexible tool for governance. Its evolution over the centuries demonstrates Rome's ability to adapt its institutions to meet the demands of a growing empire, solidifying the praetorship as one of the Republic's most significant offices. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and share to help us bring more stories from ancient Rome to life. Your support helps us bring more content like this to life. If you'd like to go a step further, consider supporting us on Patreon or joining our YouTube membership program. It makes a world of difference in what we can create. Let us know in the comments which Roman office you'd like us to explore next.